already shown evidence. You're saying like, but I already proved this. You say, okay, so can you? As far as I know, this is still standing on the flow. I don't believe you gave any meaningful response to it, did you? The evidence we provided in the stats here, and then you sort of cite it. If so, can you correct me? What is the response you gave? If you already know what his response is and you know it's non-responsive, then you need to say, is this your response to blah blah blah? And that's your only response, right? That's the only response you made in the last speech, right? You want to like set it up like that, so that you establish that this is you're basically framing out for the judge the voters, you know, and then you attack them, reminding the judge you're framing like that. So in that instance, you need to make sure you have established his. If you're going to attack in that spot, establish again, make him confirm for you what it is that you already know, if it's a weak spot. Okay. So what was his response to it?
You had the Becker-Posner blog of 2013.
Which says what?
Welfare of proven failure needs to end. The United States spends heavily on redistributing income by taxing the affluent and using the revenues from taxation to support a variety of federal and state means-tested welfare programs such as food stamps, Medicaid, Social Security, disability benefits, and the Earned Income Tax Credit, and a number of other programs such as Social Security, retirement benefits,
Stop the timer. This isn't counting.
unemployment benefits, the minimum wage, Medicare, and subsidies for education have a large redistributive component, though they are not means tested. The aggregate annual amount of redistributive transfers is in the trillions of dollars. Despite redistribution, economic inequality in the United States has risen in recent decades. The poorest 20% of U.S. households have only 5% of the nation's total personal income, and the richest 20% have 50%. Between 1997 and 2008, median U.S. household income fell by 4% after adjustment for inflation, and between 2007 and 2011, it fell by 8.9%. A median is not an average. Average income rose because the incomes of high earners rose, and so the effect was actually to increase inequality of income.
What isn't there in that card? What is there not in that card? There's no explanation. There's no causal link, right? Where does it link the two things? It says we offer a lot of means-tested welfare programs, and it says here are some things going on in the economy right now. And we're just supposed to assume that what? The median 4% median decrease in median income, that's because of social welfare programs, means tested and otherwise. It is relevant that those other programs have a substantial redistributive effect. I think this card is really good to allow you to get in impacts from Social Security and unemployment insurance, but you've got to get it in, not directly. You still have to go around a little bit. You got to go. Now look, because these other programs already have such a substantial redistributive effect, when we think about how much the government is currently spending on redistributive programs versus how much the government is currently spending on infrastructure, then we see why exactly it would be so wholly unnecessary for us to spend additional money on means-tested welfare programs, which are proven already to be the least effective of the social welfare programs. Okay, so you can take that approach with that, but
I don't get it.
well, I'll repeat it. Look, you can't get impacts out of Social Security and unemployment insurance directly because the topic specifies means-tested welfare programs, not any old social welfare program. And the reality is Social Security is not a means-tested welfare program. It is retirement insurance / disability insurance. And as a consequence, it's age-tested or ableness tested. So they're not means-tested. They're not technically topical, but you can make them topical by reading that card, where that card says they have a substantial redistributive effect. What that is saying is It's opening the door for this argument. Look, when we are thinking about whether we should spend money on means-tested welfare programs, we need to look at how much of the money we currently spend is spent not only on means-tested welfare programs, but is spent on other redistributed programs. Now we know the amount of money that's spent on infrastructure includes everything. It includes the roads, it includes the tunnels, it's going to include your bridges, your power lines, all that kind of crap. It's not leaving out some kinds of infrastructure and saying, oh, that's not really part of infrastructure. Well, on my opponents, on the other hand, is saying, oh, we should increase means-tested welfare programs. They're not acknowledging the reality that there exist massive programs already in place to solve all the sort of problems they're talking about that are not means-tested welfare programs, that we don't have to prioritize the means-tested ones, that these alternatives exist. And so, as a consequence, since the federal government is already spending such a huge percentage of its money on social welfare programs, the money that we are talking about now, well, we spent plenty on that. Now let's spend a little bit on something that's not about social welfare, but that it's about instead maximizing growth, namely infrastructure. Do you understand why? If I said, look, I want to make a punch that's half apple juice and half orange juice, and then what you did was you're like, okay, sounds good. I've got 10 oranges and 10 apples. First, let me squeeze 10 limes and lemons in there. Okay, now here you go. Here's your oranges and apples. This doesn't taste right. Well, I put in the 10 oranges and apples. And I put in a bunch of lemons and limes too. Why? Well, because. What's the analogy here? Who understands that analogy? Nobody? What am I talking about? What are the oranges in this analogy? Okay, look, I'm saying this. We need one pitcher of juice. And that pitcher of juice represents the amount of redistribution we need. Okay? Now we're talking about a specific kind of juices now. We're saying, well, we've got two kinds of juices. We've got means-tested welfare programs, apples, and we've got non-means-tested welfare programs, citrus fruit. Okay? We need, again, one pitcher of juice total. Doesn't matter really what mix we have of citrus fruit, but we need one pitcher of citrus fruit, okay? And we need one pitcher of apple. But here's the deal. What our opponent is saying, we squeeze all their oranges, we squeeze all of our apples, we each end up with about the same amount of liquid in it. But then look what they're doing. They're squeezing another pitcher over here full of lemons and limes, and then saying, okay, well, that's how much juice we need, just like we said, one pitcher of orange juice. But what's this other pitcher? Oh, that's not orange juice, that's tangerine juice. It's a little different. And you go, okay, but I thought we were going to spend only this much of our grocery budget on juice. You just spent twice as much on juice as we thought we were going to spend. I said, let's spend $5 on juice. You spent $10 on juice. And we only have $20. And I also wanted to buy some bacon. So why did you get to spend $10 on juice when we agreed you'd only buy one pitcher of juice? Well, I did only buy one pitcher of orange juice. It's extensional pruning. It's a fallacy called extensional pruning, where you retreat to the literal definition of the word, where you say like, well, yes, I did guarantee I would install your air conditioner for you for $85, and you did pay me the $85. And it's true, the air conditioner does not work. But I never said I'd install it and it would be working when I was done. So I'm sorry, tough luck for you. You get no refund. You should have read the fine print. There was none. It never said anywhere on that paper, I promise it will work when I'm done. That's extensional pruning. It's ridiculous. Obviously, there's certain expectations that are normal. You can't say, You can't expect somebody to understand if you say, just bring one pitcher of orange juice, that's it. And they're going to interpret that to mean, aha, one pitcher of orange juice, but I can bring whatever else other kind of juice I want. I know, I have 50 pitchers of juice, only one of them is orange. All right, let's move on. What are we talking about?
I don't get how that relates to this redistributing.
Because you're saying, look, I agree, we need some juice for the people. We need about a pitcher's worth of juice. And they're saying, look, yeah, we should get about a pitcher's worth of juice. Because they're hiding that behind their cape, they've got like 16 pitchers of juice back there. Like, no, I only got one pitcher. You go, liar, you've got 16 pitchers of juice back there behind you. Each of them represents a redistributive program, like Social Security, or unemployment insurance, or food stamps, or whatever. Healthcare type stuff. And so they're like, yep, we should spend money on juice. Seems to me you've been got a lot of juice lately. Oh, no, I have no juice at all. I need a pitcher of juice badly. Well, we definitely need our pitcher of juice over here because we're like totally out of juice. And it's just like one guy in the middle of the desert standing with an empty pitcher, right? Meanwhile, this person's got this elaborate hidey scheme to hide all the pitchers of juice they have behind the thing. And then they go, no, this is our one pitcher of juice right here. It's that. But you spent $40,000 on juice behind the curtain. That's not fair. And we're just trying to get one pitcher of juice. And that's really one pitcher. And we don't have any hidden pitchers. So the point is, if in fact we have a limited amount of budget to spend on something, then the amount we are currently spending on it is relevant as to whether we should spend more, right? If I say, look, every 10 years or so, let's say maybe every 10 days or so, one of these Myers-Briggs, I have to buy a new one. I can anticipate that. Oh, this has to be purchased again. And I buy one every 10 days. And then we look at that as a part of my household budget. And then it turns out also, for some reason, I have to buy sodas for like 20 kids every day. And then pretty soon, I have to give them each 2 sodas. And like the next day, I got to give them each 3 sodas. And I look at my household budget at the end of the year, and it says like, when we started this, the agreement was I was going to bring one 12-pack of soda to class. And that would have to last for like the weekend or at least for a whole day. And now they're taking 3 sodas per hour per student. And just doing nothing but chugging soda in class. I'm going broke. Well, that's the equivalent. They say just 1 roads and 1 social welfare program. But really, they mean just 1 roads and just 1 social welfare program, ignoring all these 40 empty cans behind me. Okay? So that's the why you make that argument, Evelyn. Do you understand?
Not really.
God damn it, don't say that to me. Why do you do that? Why don't you just run over and stab me in the face with a fork? Do you understand it, Grace? Because you don't have a fork. Lucky we don't keep forks around here. Grace, can you tell me the answer? Can somebody tell me why that is important, what I just said? Can somebody understand the analogy? Oh, my God. Grace, save us, please. Save your peers. Provide redemption for your peers for their failure. We'll wait. We'll be patient. Take your time. Express truth even if it's slowly expressed. She wants to write it out first. She takes notes fast. Super fast. I normally don't like people writing and taking notes on their laptop, but she's totally on it. All right, give it to me, Grace. Spit truth. Spit words of truth such that all the people hear them and go straight to heaven. Go.
So for a while, the opponents say that there is only one means-tested social welfare program, there's actually more programs that are not means-tested, but they would work just as well. But the opponents are not acknowledging that.
So they're not acknowledging that there's other things that would work just as well, but are not now working just as well, Evelyn, or what?
Yes.
Is that correct? No.
No.
Is Social Security working well now? What the hell does this say? First of all, look at this. This stat is all about Social Security. First of all, you should invalidate this whole card if you're on the other side because it's not even about. It doesn't section off the social welfare, the means-tested ones from the non-means-tested ones. Look at this. It says old people currently have a poverty rate of what?
40%.
Boo. Failure, boo. Why are you not writing down these stats? I put it on the goddamn board. What? Don't like a cheater. Cheater.
52.6.
What is it now, though?
14.6.
Thank you. So according to this, there are that many percent old people difference between if you have Social Security and if you don't have Social Security. Okay? What's that tell you about this right here? Whose poverty was solved by something other than a means-tested welfare program?
Old people.
You speak truth. Why? But why were they solved? Why was their poverty solved? How do we know their poverty was solved? And by what was it solved, Connor?
Welfare.
How do we know it was solved?
Because it says so.
Right. Well, you say this. That's how you turn that, right? If they're reading that card saying how important welfare programs are, if those girls are reading that card, Harry, then you need to turn it. Turn it. Go. Let me hear it. Oh my God. Turn it. That. Old people. Look, old people would be super poor, but they're really not poor at all. Why? Because of social welfare programs. Uh-oh, but that helps them. No, it doesn't, because you're missing one adjective. Which hyphenated adjective?
Means-tested.
Correct. Now turn that, Harry. Evelyn, demonstrate. Turn it.
Okay, let's see. So, Social Security is not means-tested.
Oh my God. I give up. You guys are just. You guys, you left the house, you said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put on my failure pants, I'm going to put on my failure shirt, my failure jacket, my failure hair, my failure shoes. Why are you trying to fail so badly, Evelyn? Just because you want to make me mad? It's terrible. Grace, will you save us, please? Why? How do we turn that? Why is it turnable?
Because it's not a means-tested social welfare.
But wouldn't that just mean it has no impact? Why is that a turn?
Because it says that old people, they will be less old people.
It proves that non-means-tested welfare solves. It proves that the other thing solves. We don't need the means-tested kind. The non-means-tested welfare is already solving it. If you claim that Social Security is solving the problem, whose side are you helping? The side that's advocating in favor of means-tested welfare programs, or the side that's advocating in favor of roads?
Roads.
Roads. Harry, do you understand why?
No.
Oh, for Christ's sakes. Harry, think about it, dude. If I tell you, should we get the surgery that costs $50,000 to get this mole removed, or the surgery that costs $10,000? And I'm like, well, actually, I'm just going to cut it off with a razor blade for free. And then you're like, we got to pick one of these two. Which one is it? And I cut it off. It's gone now. And they go, I don't know which one to pick. I already cut it off, dude. We're not picking either of them. But we need to pick one really badly. No, look, I was going to cut it off myself. I told you that. You ignored me. I actually did cut it off myself. You ignored me. It's been 2 weeks. It's healed. And you're still yammering on about us picking one of these two choices. Do you understand that analogy, Harry?
Oh, yeah.
Can somebody please make this goddamn argument for me? Properly? Somebody?
Okay. No means tested welfare programs work just as well as welfare programs.
Means tested.
No means tested welfare programs.
What does that mean, though, Evelyn? I mean, that doesn't get you anything on the flow. You were like, and here's where I'm going to put the house. I'm going to put the foundation right there. Now I'm going to go move 100 miles away. Well, aren't you going to put something on top of that? Right? Do you have anything to add to our foundation?
If this only says that means tested welfare programs are bad, not.
It only says. I am not asking you what anything says except for me. What am I saying? What am I asking you to repeat back to me? Grace has been taking notes. Have you been taking notes, Harry? No. Your lies. Lying lies. Your lying lies are lying to me. I will repeat this argument one more time. We got a big problem. We need to solve it with cheese. And I say, but isn't that problem a calcium deficiency? And you go, yeah, that's why we need to give them cheese.
Milk.
And I'm like, but you've been force feeding them yogurt for 40 years. Why do they need cheese? Why do they still have a calcium deficiency? Your big yogurt plan didn't seem to work very well. If we need to force feed them cheese now too, surely if they have a calcium deficiency, then when we do things to solve the calcium deficiency, they should not need more calcium from another source. You came up here in front of Congress last year and you said, let's give the poor people yogurt because they have a calcium deficiency. And we spent the last year sending out the army to find poor people, forcibly open their mouths, and pour a cup of yogurt down their throat. One after another, day after day, week after week, for the entire year, we have been forcing yogurt down the throat of poor people. And you, sir, have the gall to come up here today and say, gentlemen and ladies of this Congress, we have a problem in society today. Poor people don't get enough calcium. We need to begin a means-tested cheese forcing program. What?
Why do they have a calcium deficiency if you've been feeding them yogurt with calcium?
Exactly! Why do we need means-tested welfare programs if we've been feeding them Social Security? Plus Medicare. Well, that's means-tested, never mind. Social Security. Plus unemployment insurance. That should be plenty of calcium. That's the yogurt, okay? Social Security is a yogurt, and unemployment insurance is yogurt. What else is yogurt? I don't know. Mandatory flood insurance or something. Minimum wage. That's not insurance, but that is, in fact, you're right, not a social welfare program. So you're going to say, if you're arguing this, look, Judge, they keep saying we need to help poor people because the poor people are poor. Well, I wonder about that. Because last I checked, we had several different programs in place to help the poor people because they're poor. We have something called the minimum wage. We have something called unemployment insurance. We have disability. We have what's it called? Social Security. These constitute legitimate ways of running a welfare program because they aren't means tested. Why is that so important? Well, for two reasons. One, we know means testing is bad, but two, we know that before we even get to this question of means testing, you're saying, oh, hey, but let's also give the extra poor ones, let's force feed them some cheese. Well, before you even get to there, look at that poor person. He's like this, gurgling around from yogurt, right? It just his whole body is basically a giant tube of yogurt. He doesn't need any more cheese right now. He can't eat another bite. He's stuffed. And look, here comes the yogurt guys again. They're coming around again to force feed him more yogurt. Like, no, no. Right in front of the way. It's just like yogurt coming out of all of those holes. Okay, poor guy. Well, that's what he gets for being poor. If you're going to be poor in America, you're going to get force-fed some yogurt. Get used to it. Yeah, I think that's a good motto to live by. Everyone should adopt that in a life's motto. Hey man, you know what they say? If you're poor in America, you're gonna get force-fed some yogurt. There's nothing anybody can do about it. Alright? So just open wide and just start chugging. But I wanted the cheese. Sorry they nixed that plan, dude. The F1. Sorry. You don't get any cheese. You get roads instead now. Alright, where are we in this round?
Stop reading.
I believe this is the comedy section of the round, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's proceed.
What are we doing now?
But why, were you intentionally not understanding that, or what?
No, I'm not understanding.
You genuinely didn't understand. How many different analogies did I have to give you to understand that thing? I still don't even know if you understand it. I think you're effing with me, frankly.